Towns that I'm talking about now, most of those towns had memorial rinks. Memorial after World War II, they built a rink, and most of those rinks have been replaced now by another rink. Like in the case of my own hometown, the rink blew down in 1980, a big windstorm. But the interesting thing is Sedley, which is just outside of Regina, about 25, 30 miles, uh, still has that old memorial rink. I was in it about 3 or 4 years ago. It's still a very good functional rink. Teams from Regina rent the ice. They come out all the time, recreational teams and whatnot, drive out and rent that ice surface. It's still a very good rink. Yeah, well, that'd be more junior hockey. Certainly, I played in exhibition stadium a lot. I think the Al Ritchie rink was built after I was out of junior, but I was certainly in it a lot of times later on as I moved into coaching. I was in the Al Ritchie arena many times, which is on the east end of Regina. Uh, Regina was like a lot of communities, even in Winnipeg here. A lot of your indoor artificial ice rinks, there was a lot of them built in the early 70s, there were a lot of grants available for rinks, and in Manitoba here, centennial grants were certainly part of the scene. So in Saskatchewan, like Weyburn, where I played, they built a brand new rink in 1961. It's still being used, and I was part of the first team that played out of what was called the Weyburn Coliseum. A lot of the communities were building new rinks in the time I was moving through my teenage years. Sure, I can say that we lived east of Weyburn, and just you got to kind of test your knowledge of geography here. We were east of Weyburn when I was growing up. We were north of Estevan. And Estevan had a junior team, the Estevan Bruins, before Weyburn did. Estevan got a team, I'm going to say about 1957. The Estevan Bruins, Scotty Monroe. And my dad used to take me down there, maybe about 50 miles, to see the odd game in Estevan. We saw Billy Hickey from Regina. Red Berenson was in Regina at that time. Big Jim Nielsen, who lives in Winnipeg now, he was with Prince Albert at that time. Very good defenseman in the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League. I can remember games in Regina. My dad would take me in 72 miles to see the odd game in Regina. I remember seeing a game, it must have been 55 or 56, somewhere in there, where the Toronto Marlboros came in to play in the Memorial Cup against the Regina Pats. Bobby Bond was on the team. Billy Harris was on the Marlboro team. Another game I remember, and many people may remember this, the Detroit Red Wings came through one year, Western Canada, and they played against the Edmonton Flyers. This was in the early part, like in September, before the Edmonton Flyers, you remember, were the farm team in the Western League, and they played a game in Melville. And I'm sure they played in other places like Brandon or Winnipeg. I know they did a tour. I don't know exactly where they stopped. But that was a big deal for me to see Gordie Howe in person playing hockey against the Edmonton Flyers. That happened in Melville. And I'm going to say that must have been in about 1959, something like that. That was a very important occasion. My dad was good enough to drive me up to Melville, about an hour and a half from where we were living, and see that game in the fall of, it was 59 or 60, something like that.